Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Beginning with, we return. We're back at that time of
You'll
year
hear a lot more about this message and why, but we begin with the words, return again, return to the land of your soul. It repeats itself a few times, so as the melody continues, if you feel so inclined to sing along, to lift your voice, we welcome you to do that. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
We'll continue with lighting of Shabbat candles, welcoming in the light of Shabbat. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Back to returning and returning again. You'll hear a lot more from Rabbi Sternberg later in the service as to what month we are entering into, but if you have talked to a rabbi or a cantor lately, you know that Rosh Hashanah is in just a few weeks, which means that our Jewish calendar spiritually is inviting us to get ready for what is coming. It doesn't just open the doors on the morning of Rosh Hashanah and say, come in and pray. It actually asks us to prepare ourselves and our souls. And so during this month of return to our truest selves, to who we are, who perhaps we've been, or who we want to be, what we need to leave behind, and what we need to carry forward into this year ahead. This is another interpretation of those words, Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva, Chadesh Yamenu kekedem, renew our days as of old, renew them, restore us, help us to return to who we want to be and to return to our community. Sing with us if you're so inclined. We return, we return, we return, we return, we return, return again. We return, we return, we return, we return, Returning to our Shabbat liturgy, we continue with Lecha Dodi. You can follow along on the slides behind us, or if you want to use a prayer book, on page 20, the prayer books are under your seats. Please join with us.
Yeah.
ובצולה תוך אמונה עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת מקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת מקבלה.
We'll continue with our Shabbat liturgy with Baruch Hu, and I'll invite you to please rise. We're on page 146. We'll continue with the Hebrew on 147. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, b'rei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei hoshech, v'hoshech mipnei or.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים.
Join responsively. In each age we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment we are addressed by the world.
In each age we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment we stand face to face with truth.
In each age we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment the knowing heart is filled with wonder.
In each age the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto,
be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound.
Before our eyes there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom.
Give us a place to rest, O God. Bring us shelter in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth and prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen.
I invite you to please rise for the blessings of the Amidah, page 155.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Mekoneh Hakol, Bezocher Chaste Avot ve'imachot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye Hakol, Atah Rab Leoshia. Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umito Melach, Melech Memit Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yahalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. And at this point in our service, we turn our thoughts and prayers to those who are in need of healing, healing of the body and healing of the spirit. This evening, the Shabbat, we're praying for the healing of Cindy Baker, Erwin Baker, Ken Baker, Gary Beinhacker, Shlomo Ben Hana, Ada Barbara Corvelli, Moshe Danielle, Alan Foltz, Bill Foster, Marcy Goldsmith, Larry Hollander, Eliana Leora Bachoshana Leah, Julie Levine, Phyllis Nelson, Alan Rothfeder, Tammy Schwartzberg, and Mike Price. And if there's anybody either here or, of course, those at home who feel so inclined, we're praying for those who are in need of healing. I'll invite you to share their name out loud, and if you'd like, your relationship to them as well. Prayers for healing. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals the sick.
V'kol habracha
One of the many gifts that Becky brings as she joins our team is her songwriting. And that melody was written by our new cantorial intern who we're welcoming to the Bema tonight, Becky Mann. Thank you, Becky, for that beautiful prayer and for your voice tonight. With that, we turn from prayers for healing for ourselves and our bodies and our souls to the healing of the entire world, something we need so badly. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim
The guest of honor just left the room, but I think she's coming back. There she is, the Sabbath bride. It is now my pleasure to invite up Noah Wolkoff, and she can bring her mom and dad with her. And Henry's coming too, of course, big brother. You guys can just stand right here. Hey, Miss Noah. Hi. She's like, no, I got the thumb. That's fine. You do what you need to do. So we are here this evening because we're going to bestow on you your Hebrew name. And a name is a very important thing. You're so lucky that you have Hebrew name, that it functions in English and in Hebrew, which is really special. This is the name that you are going to be called by all throughout your Jewish life. It's probably hard to imagine now, but in just a few years at your bat mitzvah, this is what I will use to call you up to the Torah. And it's a name that your parents have chosen because it means something to them. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, okay? So before I do, I want to begin with a blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lechach nisa b'ivrit am Yisrael. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commands us to bring this child into the covenant of our people Israel. Amen. Noah, you are named for your great-grandmother, Nina. Nina is loving and selfless and committed to her Judaism, the daughter of a rabbi, I understand. Very, very important. And most importantly, an excellent cook. That's okay. She is the matriarch of your family with 15 grandchildren. And Noah, you are her 20th great-grandchild, which is amazing. What a simcha. And your English middle name is Sloan, after your other great-grandmother, Selma, who was bold and social and fiercely protective of her family. You carry the legacy of these two important women in your family structure and in your name, and we know that you will be the next link in the chain of the tradition that extends all the way from Mount Sinai through the generations, from your grandparents to your parents to your brother, and now to you. So, first I am going to name you, and then I'm going to talk to you, mister, because there's something important I want to say to you as well, Henry. He's like, what did I do? Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, kayemet hayelda hazot, vayikra shma b'Yisrael, Noah bat, where did I write it? Excuse me for 1 second. Noah bat Yitzchak ve'Rivka. Blessed are you, God of our mothers and our fathers. We ask that you sustain this child through her parents' loving care. Yeah, you can wiggle. It's okay. Let her be known among our people Israel by the name Noah bat Yitzchak ve'Rivka. May her name be a source of joy to her, as she is to us, and inspire her to serve our people and all humankind. May her parents rejoice in her growth of body and soul as they bring their daughter into the covenant. So may they, yeah, it's fun, with wisdom and patience, lead her to a life filled with the blessing of learning, community, yeah, you should feel right at home, a loving relationship worthy of God's blessing, and the pursuit of good deeds, as we say together, amen. Now, Henry, my man, we know each other pretty well, right? Today we are giving your little sister her Hebrew name, but she's not the only one who is going through an important milestone. I know Noah didn't just arrive, but when she did, you became a big brother. But before that, you were the baby that made your mommy and daddy a mommy and daddy, which was a really big deal. And now you are a big brother, and that's a really big job. It means that you've been given the responsibility of looking after her and helping your parents take care of her. And you've also been given a gift, like a present. A lifelong friend and companion, I know. It's okay. And a partner as you grow up together. My blessing for the two of you, she can run around, it's okay. She has her name, now it's all just gravy at this point. As you grow up together, may you be blessed to find love and friendship in each other. May you be a constant support for one another as you travel through life together as brother and sister. And may you always remember that even though sometimes little sisters can be really annoying, she will look up to you and love you more than she will ever be able to tell you. You want a cup too? Yeah? You want a cup? You can have a cup. It's for you. Oh, you want my microphone. That I'm going to keep. That I'm going to keep. Well, now Noah and Henry, now that Noah has her Hebrew name, it's my pleasure to bestow on your entire family the priestly blessing. This is the oldest way that Jews bless each other, passed down straight from our Torah to Aaron, Moses' brother, and now to you. So I'm going to ask you to come a little closer to me.
Come on, girl.
It's okay. Yeah, girl. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. May God's face shine upon you, granting you compassion. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face shine down upon you always, granting you the greatest gift that we can know. Shalom, the gift of peace. Mazel tov to the Wolkoff family.
We did it.
You say yay? Yay. All right, Noah. You can take whatever you choose.
Oh, we can take these cups.
Yeah, you can totally take the cups home, yeah. It's a gift from us to you. Before the service, I said to them, babies at every stage make noise, they cry, they talk, they sing, they squirm. So whatever Noah does during that ceremony is exactly what she should do, because it's exactly where she is right now, and it's a joy to see. With that, joy and sweetness in our hearts and our minds, we take a moment to reflect in silent prayer.
Ose shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom hu yaseh shalom aleinu yaseh shalom aleinu ose shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom hu yaseh shalom aleinu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol ve'al kol ve'al kol Israel ve'al kol ve'al kol ve'al kol yoshvei tevel Veimeru amen, veimeru amen. We ask for peace on earth, and we say amen. Veimeru amen, veimeru amen. We raise our voice as one, and we say amen.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. It's really hard to follow the beauty of Becky and Lucy's voices, but it's good to be with you all this evening, and I hope hope everyone's having a restful ease into Shabbat with us here, or joining us, of course, from home. So if I were to ask you, what is Judaism's most important teaching? What do you think it would be? What's the core teaching of Judaism? Or what's your core teaching of Judaism? I'll actually open that up. Anybody have any thoughts? What's a core teaching of Judaism? What's maybe the most important? Mitzvot? Yeah. Caring? These are all absolutely correct answers. We have many core teachings of Judaism, everything from mitzvot and our values, God, right? The concept of having one God, tradition, ritual, they're all there. But for many Jewish Americans, they would say that the thing that inspires them to engage with Judaism, the core value of Judaism, is tikkun olam, the obligation to repair the world. And this is an area of our synagogue that I absolutely love. There's a lot of people around here that spend a large time figuring out how we can do more as a community, supporting our local food pantries, encouraging others to register to vote, making sure our community is as generous as we can be around the holidays, blood drives, helping the urgency of the moment, for example, in Ukraine, and of course, something that I love is encouraging B'nai Mitzvah students to discover what they're passionate about in healing the world through their mitzvah projects. It truly inspires me to facilitate this work for our congregation. And at the same time, what I think is important to note is that how we practice tikkun olam is not actually how we as Jewish people were intended to do tikkun olam by way of Jewish tradition. It certainly is part of it, because doing acts of good is how we heal the world. But it's relatively new to understand tikkun olam in the context of social action or social justice. The first Jewish thinker to put this into context was Rabbi Abraham Isaac Kook in the early 1900s, and it wasn't made popular as a mainstream way of thinking about tikkun olam until much later, the 1980s. So in the grand scheme of how old Judaism is, this idea of tikkun olam as doing social action or social justice work is fairly new. But in its original origin, for example, in the Aleinu prayer, it refers to the eradication of idolatry. And then a little later in Kabbalism and Jewish mysticism, it's about ritual and returning the sparks of divine light to their source by means of ritual. And then, of course, through mitzvot, performing God's traditional commandments, or mitzvot. Yes, some of which are feeding the hungry and visiting the sick, but it's also observing Shabbat and wrapping tefillin, and the hundreds of other commandments that we read in the Torah that bring our world closer to that original state of perfection that God imagined for us. And I speak so heavily about tikkun olam because this week in our Torah portion, Parshat Re'eh, is a reminder of just this. It's essentially the laws that give instructions for how we create an ideal society, an ideal world, and what we must refrain from doing that will fracture that world further. And those ethical actions, both the ethical actions and the ritual actions, are intended to create this ideal society, as close to a perfect world as we can get. So our Torah portion tells us that we shouldn't worship idols. It says we should have an ethical practice of eating in the form of kashrut. Says we should forgive debts every 7 years, and we should be generous towards the Levite and the widow and the orphan and the stranger. And then it says the obligation to care for the vulnerable extends beyond those categories to any needy person. The text says if there's a needy person among you, one of your kin in any of your settlements in the land that your God is giving you, do not harden your heart and shut your hand, Rather, you must open your hand and lend whatever is sufficient to meet the need. So it's not that Jews are just responsible for themselves, but in opening our hearts and hands for all who dwell on earth who are in need. Ultimately, these laws are reminders of how we work towards a world that is more balanced, more whole, and more peaceful. It's hard, though, to ignore the timing in which this Torah portion falls at such a crucial time in our Jewish calendar. And Cantor Lucy alluded to this heavily, that we are approaching the High Holy Days very, very soon. In fact, as of today, they are a month away because beginning tonight is Rosh Chodesh Elul. It's the first day of the month of Elul. And one thing that I would argue is that we can only do our part to create the ideal world. We can only participate wholeheartedly in the sacred work of Tikkun Olam when we simultaneously work towards bettering ourselves and taking care of ourselves in the process. And this, beginning tonight, is the time that intense work of officially working on ourselves in preparation for the holidays begins as we observe Rosh Chodesh Elul. It's the month where we begin our spiritual preparation. We do what's called Cheshbon Nefesh, an accounting of the soul, a spiritual accounting of ourselves, to consider how we can better ourselves in the year ahead, how we can take better care of ourselves in the year ahead. And I think that these two aspects are intrinsically connected. Creating the ideal society, so bettering our world, and bettering ourselves. It's in the same way on the airplane. It's the number one rule is when you have to put on your own oxygen mask before you put on others. Feels like the stereotypical example, but speaks poignantly to this concept of we can't take care of others until we take care of ourselves. We can't actually reflect on the problems of the world if we're not working on the challenges in our own lives. And we can't put our full selves into fixing the world without working on ourselves. Because if we aren't present, if we aren't nourished, if we don't feel fully alive, how are we supposed to ensure that our world remains working towards that ideal? And how do we know to do this? Because starting this evening, we are called to. Each year at this time, we begin the process of sounding the shofar, and we are encouraged to respond to that auditory symbol of the journey of Elul. And the shofar as a symbol, it's the loud blast that tells us to wake up, to be alert. It calls on us, and that call is to begin to take action. Traditionally, it's to take action for ourselves, but we use it as a symbol to take action for the world. Often we start our community mitzvah day with a long blast of the shofar as a time that says, wake up, we're ready to act. And the text in the Torah continues, following the commandments to put out our hands for those in need. It says, for there will never cease to be needy ones in your land, which is why I command you, open your hand to the poor and needy kin in your land. And the Torah is correct. Even in our current day, in the world we live in, we probably won't see a time in any of our lifetimes where poverty or hunger or war or suffering aren't still an issue. So year after year, we continue to be called to do this work, both the external work of helping those around us, but first it has to be the internal work of bettering ourselves to allow us to do so. So as we hear the call of this week's Torah portion to work towards that ideal world of peace and wholeness and balance, we take this next month to prepare ourselves for the heavy work of healing the world by way of healing ourselves. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. And with that, we will turn back to our liturgy for the words of Aleinu, page 282 in your prayer book, and I'll invite you to please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We now come to the words of Mourner's Kaddish, the words that honor the lives of those in our families and our communities whom we have lost. As part of honoring their memories, when you hear the name of a loved one, if you feel so inclined, we'll invite you to rise in honor of their memory. We're in a period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, remembering Dr. Michael J. Epstein, Manfred Y. Kahan, Alan Bernstein, Janet Reynolds, and Thelma Weiner. It's the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the passing of Sophie Bachman, Roy G. Beck, Aaron Bernard Cohen, Barbara Mercy Davis, John Harmon Ford, Samuel W. Gallowitz, Rivka Garkha, Bruce Glover, Sadie Gluckman, Gertrude L. Goldberg, Major C. Goldfinger, Joseph Irving Goodman, Sidney J. Greendorfer, Rose Eisler, Rita G. Jameson, Joseph Kane, the Honorable Lawrence L. Lasser, Rudolph Levy, Bruce Levin, Maxine H. Londa, Jeanette Strauss London, Marlon Martin, Mortimer W. Mayer Jr., Paul Newman, Alan M. Orlov, Abraham Pastor, Beatrice Watermaker Prager, Benjamin Racklin, Irving W. Rosenhan, Simon Schlesinger, Richard Salinka, Milton L. Schiffman, Carol Seligman, Ruth Montag Dorner Snyder, Samuel Solomon, Robert Morton Starr, Hannah Goldfinger Stilling, and Lillian Walder. And we'll rise as one sacred community as we recite the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudasha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, huya say shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel. Together we'll say, amen. And please be seated. And before we move to Kiddush and Motzi, just a couple of announcements. In your orders of worship, there is lots about the high holidays. Please take a look. and everything is on our website. It is coming. Like I said, Elul just started. It's coming very soon. A couple other dates that I want to point out. On September 9th, we are having a milestone membership Shabbat. I hope you'll join us, celebrating many years of membership here at Bnai Jeshurun. A couple things that aren't on your orders of worship, but I want to throw out there. First, our Slichot service and program is on September 17th. And I am saying this one because there are a couple of you here and a couple parents of here. We are doing, starting up our programming again for our young adults that are still living in the city. For those that are in that category, you'll get information from me on Monday, but save the date for a Shabbat dinner on September 16th. So I'm sorry to call everybody out who's here on that, but I hope I couldn't pass up the opportunity. And with that, we will move into Kiddush and Motzi.
Join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu B'Shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher litziot Mitzrayim kivanu Beotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Chaim l'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.